What I have here is a DeWalt DWE 4120 angle grinder, and it doesn't want to run. I got power at the wall, so I know that's not the problem. All right, so first thing we're going to do is unplug it, of course. Now, first thing is, could be a couple of things wrong with it. Could be the switch in here is bad, gotten clogged up or shorted out. Could be the brushes. Could be the commutator. I got one screw to pull this back shell off, and we can check that. But first, let's check the continuity. So I got my meter set to ohms. Got the leads in here. I bet you didn't know that's what those holes are for, huh? Hands-free. All right. So when I close the trigger, I should be getting some kind of reading up here to tell me that the switch is working, and I think we found the problem already. You got a bad switch. All right, so let's get it shell off and check it out and see where we are. And I get this apart. This is a T15 Torx on the back. I like to give the cord a little bit of spin when you've got your stress keeper on here. Give it a little bit of spin, because if you get crap that falls down inside of here, it's not going to want to release. So once we've got that screw out, you want to hold your trigger down and push in on that lock button at the same time. So I'm going to take a couple of hands here. Sometimes that lock button don't want to release or go far enough. So push it in a little harder. There we go. Oh, there it fell. After all, it is just spring loaded. Just pop her back in there. Goes, yep. It's going to fit down in there and over this. There we go. That's how you get the shell off. Dry as a bone. All right, we're gonna get that lubricated. Use an old syringe with a good old red and tacky number 2. Reason for the syringe is so I can get it down in there. Now I'm not using a needle. I just leave the needle on there to keep it covered up. I just want this part. Pump it down in there. Oh, can't see it. There you go. I can use some more. I'll refill that later. Push her down in there as deep as I can get it. That's good. Now for this end. Get some on that bearing. There we go. Now that's right. Yeah. Beautiful. reassembling this is really important. You've got these little standoffs here. Those is what locks it into the head. So you see those, this opening area down here, that's where those go. So get it lined up just like that. And it should fit all the way down. The cooling fins should be level with this. That's how it's going to spin. I can feel. Sounds good. All right. So that part's done. So the head is now cleaned and ready to go with the armature. Now to tackle the brushes. And I identified the problem with this was the brushes. You can't see it now because I've already poked it back in, but one of the brushes wasn't extended all the way out. It was stuck. Can you see in there? Yeah. You see how that brush at about the 7 o'clock position isn't fully extended where the other one is a little bit more? The top one at 1 o'clock is making good contact with the armature. That one isn't. So we're going to replace both of them, since I'm in here. And the stator looks good. There's no big scratches or marks or anything like that, so that's good. All right, to replace the brushes in this, come on, focus. You got a screw, Torx here, and then we disconnect that from the wire, and the whole thing will come out. I'll disconnect the sharp. To get the brushes out, you remove the Torx. The whole brush assembly should come out. You can pop in the new brush. You'll disconnect the strap here, reconnect it, and pop her back in, repeat. Let's see. Yep, that's it. That's the right size. There we go. And then that clip just slides on. There we go. I didn't want it to come off. I'm afraid of messing with that too much and breaking it. Let me get some pliers. Okay. Grab that end. Put my thumb in between here to act as a pivot and pull it off. That way I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this, and I can control, because if I try to pull it like that when it gave way, I'd be yanking across the room. Yeah, see, that's wanting to stick. All right. It just so happens I picked up new brushes yesterday. Amazon. Come in a pack of 4. I think it was like 10 or 12 bucks for a pack of 4. Okay, good. They fit right in there. You've got this spring. You gotta cock the spring out. Don't take the spring off. Oh, come on. Because it's got just the right amount of tension. I'll need my needle nose. Hold it back with my finger. Pull that brush out. Put the new brush in. Set the spring back over there. And bada boom, bada bang. Got a full brush. Now, I'm not going to put this right back in, because once you've got your new brushes all spring loaded, you're never going to get it, because they're going to be extended like this inside of the body. So you won't be able to push your armature back in. So I'm going to leave this out, push the armature back in, then insert your brushes so that they'll line up. Okay? Save yourself a little bit of headache. Put the armature back in first, then put your new brushes back on. Okay? All right, so that's one brush done, and I like to keep track of which one is going where. So that is the, okay, bottom. All right, so that one's the bottom, so it's going to go over there. Let's do the top. Same drill. Remove the screw. Set that there. And this one, the wire for the brush extends out the back a little bit there. Oh, here it is, right here. Are you going to come peacefully? Nope. Again, I use my thumb as a pivot. Gently rock on that. You want to be difficult. There we go. Gentle. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Oh, look at this. This brush wore down so far that the connection side of it, there's a hole. See that hole? That is why we've got this weird looking mark on the armature. See that line in the middle? Where that pin must have been coming through that brush and rubbing on that, and the brush wasn't making contact. I'll be damned. All right. Pull this bugger out. Get that spring out of the way. Pull it onto the side. And I didn't have another brush ready. No problem. Do that one-handed. Make sure I got that to the outside. There we go. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Spring back in. There we go. Now let's have a close look at this. That's not it. That must be this one. You see that hole right there? Oh. See if I can get it out. When they make these carbon brushes, the carbon powder is sintered. It's powder. And they put it into a mold, and they have these little pigtails, the copper braid pigtail with a connector on it. And there's like a little slug, a tiny little slug on the end of this wire that embeds into the carbon. Then this goes into a high pressure press under heat, and that carbon is sintered together to make a solid mass. That's how they make these. It starts as a powder. But it looks like this brush got worn down so far that the slug was actually sticking through there. Interesting. Never seen one like that before. All right, so everything's all good to go here. I'll get ready to put, might as well hook this back up while I got it here. Like I said before, I'm not going to put it back in to the case just yet. Got to put the armature in first, but I might as well hook the wire back up so I don't forget. There we go. Okay, that one's hooked up. And let's see, get my orientation. There's our screw. Goes in like that. This is going to go in like that. All right, then I'm going to pop this back on here. There we go. All right. Now in goes the armature. And let's see. The head goes down. So it's going to go in this way. Get her locked in place. Make sure it spins. Yep. Doesn't sound like anything's binding. Everything's good to go there. All right, now I can see the armature. That's where the brush is going to be riding. All right, now before I go any further, I want to put my screws, at least get them started. And for you young pups out there that don't have a lot of experience working on tools and things that have a lot of screws, do yourself a favor and learn that when you've got several screws to start in something that where the holes may not exactly line up properly, start them first. Start them first. Get all of them started before you tighten anything down. Why does that one not want to go in there? Oh, because that's the one for the back, that's why. This is the same length. Same one. And then that's the shorter one, so that would be the one for the back. Those are for the brushes. Get this junk out of here. So these four are for the head. For some reason, the head's not lining up. Just had it cocked a little bit. Got that one started. those two started. All right, get it down close. Almost there. Almost there. Notice there's a little bit of play in it. Now, which way should the play be? Should it be turning clockwise or counterclockwise? Well, considering the torque of this, there's going to be a torque in the head and it's going to want to pull this way. So give it a head start and already torque it that way. Because if you torque it the other way, and once it starts torquing on its own when it's running, it's going to want to pull that housing back to where it stops anyway. So let's put it in the natural position to start with. And nothing will loosen up on us. Now I can tighten that screw. Go across the opposite side. Tighten that screw. Don't get them super tight at first. Just get them all snug down. There we go. Come back to the start. Give it another. Yep. 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 And yep. All right. There we have that. Now we can put the brushes in. Make sure my orientation's correct. Now, because I got this wire all kajankled out there, again, we're going to get our screws started to hold it in place. Come on, get in there. And then we can fit our wires where they need to be and then tighten it down the rest of the way. I just don't want that spring popping the brush out. So let's see, I got to go down in that slot there. It looks like there's a spot for the wire to go down into that groove. Comes around here. And gets locked in there. Bend that back a little bit. Oh, I see the problem. I got this on 180 degrees from where it should be. All right. See, that's kind of an L shape there. It's got to fit into that spot right there. But because I put this connector on, it's got this little L leg right here. Well, I need to flip that around so that L's going up. So I've got room to get that seated into the little recess. I'm going to have to do it this way again. Come on, get on there. There we go. All right, so I'm going to flip this around. Let's see, the L's going to go there. So this needs to go down in the slot, but be facing up like that. All right. So it goes on like that. There we go. Seat it all the way on. Gets down in the bracket. Okay. The brush isn't, the wire's in the slot. You're sitting in that little cutout for it. The wire loops around. It's in there. It's in there. It's in the slot, so when it goes up and down, I can finish tightening that one down. Doesn't have to be super tight. Remember, we're dealing with plastic. So if you squeeze it, tighten it down too much, you're going to get some deformation of the plastic. Don't want that. Now let's see, this one seats in that slot, goes up, just rides up there. Yeah. All right. Screw started, and since this one's this side's a little simpler to work with, doesn't have that crazy little bend in it. It just sticks right out the back here. Gets all snuggy right there. I'll go ahead and tighten it down. Give it a spin. Sounds about right. Yeah. And the last thing we got here is to get the paddle switch back in. There's your on-off switch there. Kind of roll it up into that. And then you've got this there, right there. Activating it just fine. Okay. I just wanted to check this wire. We're good to go. All right. Now for reassembly. Just a reverse of what we did before. Bring the shell back up. Again, we've got to push that button in. Close the trigger. And why is that button not going in? There it goes. Yep. All right, get that button pushed in so we can get it. And watch, dang wire popped out. Get this thing back in there. Get in there. Close the paddle, push the button in, make sure you're not pinching anything like right there. There we go. You hear that button pop out? Got it in all the way. Yep. Locks like it should. Press the release. Locks like it should. Press the release. Good. All right. Give it a good slap. Make sure it's all seated in there right. And then the last screw. We're almost ready to take this baby for a test drive. Don't know if I mentioned it earlier. This is a T15. Again, you get one of these multi-packs. You got just about every kind of Torx and screwdriver bit you need in there. Pretty handy. Not the greatest quality, but Jesus, as cheap as they are, and if you don't go crazy stupid wild on them, they hold up pretty well. I think I've had this set for about 3 years. Haven't stripped or broken any of them, so that's a good thing. All right. Let's put this all the way in there. Here we go. Beautiful. You heard that little clickety part at the beginning? It's always going to happen whenever you replace brushes. The brushes got to get worn in. They're flat. Well, not perfectly flat, but there's just a little bit of, and they're rough. There's a roughness to them. So just like anything, you got to get it broken in. You're going to hear a little clickety-clackety scratching it first. As long as it doesn't sound expensive sound, and it's just that little click, click, click you heard in the first. Notice how I just bump it a few times, so I'm not putting a heavy load on it. You know, we're breaking it in, right? Just bump it, bump it, bump it. And then when it sounds like those little clickety clicks are going away, run at full speed for a few seconds and check operation one last thing. Lock has worked. Paddle release. There we go. We're done. That's it. Now, if I didn't mention it already, I bought this at an auction. I think I won it for, in the description it said didn't run. I had a pretty good idea I could fix it, so. It was missing the nuts for the bit, or the grinder nut to hold your cutting tool on. And so anyway, pick these up. 5/8 11 pitch. Should be fine. Comes in a pack of 3. I don't know why I need 2 more of them. But that's the way Amazon sells them. Packs of 3. Packs of whatever. Alrighty. So, as you can see, the edges of that circle on the back side are cut off. If you've never had angle grinder before, you see you've got the same there. You slide it over, locks in place. And let's go grab a bit. Put my scuff disc on there. All right, I'm gonna put this, you notice on one side it's raised, and the other side is recessed. Well, if some of these tools, cut off disc and everything, the flange is thicker, and so you want it to sit over the flange here. This is always going to have a flange on it. You got to have it centered up somehow, right? So get that back in where it needs to be. Put the cut off disc in there. If this area is thicker, you want to be able to crank down on it, so you'd put the flange down. But since this one is pretty close to the surface, I want this face to grip, not so much that. So I'm going to set that on like so. Spin it around. Get her in place. Got your locking button up here. Okay, keep turning it until it depresses. Crank it on. There we go. There we go. We're all set. That is it, folks. I'll leave a link to all these parts I've used in the description. So that's it. So let's see. What did I pay for this? I think I won this for $3 at the auction. The brushes cost me $7, I think it was. So that's $10 so far. And then this part, oh Lord, I think this was $5 or $6. So less than $20, I've got me an angle grinder, another angle grinder, and these right now, like even the cheapy, the really cheap Chicago electric ones at Harbor Freight are $25-$30. So I got a good quality DeWalt. It's going to last me for years. And yeah, for the price of a Chicago electric. That's it. Thank you.